Welcome back to SwitchCorner. Today it's time for our weekly breakdown of 10 deals under $10 or of course your local currency. In this video we cover the eShops in the US, Canada, UK, EU and Australia. This week though I gotta say it's a good one. We've not only got some great deals returning but also some surprising all-time new low prices. Before we do get started though, while I normally save giveaways for our Saturday edition, I got a special one for you today. To celebrate the launch of Carrion from the mighty Devolver Digital on the Nintendo Switch, I have 2 codes for the game to give away. All you need to do to enter, drop a comment below, and I'd say hit subscribe as well because I'll be announcing the winner of that on next week's edition of this video. With that, let's get started. So first up then, let's get a big obvious one out the way, and it's actually 2 games. But first, Final Fantasy VII. It's coming in with a solid 50% off. Don't know how much I really need to say about this one. It's a classic of the Final Fantasy series and no doubt a favourite for many. Yes, it's definitely clearly aged visually, but the gameplay is still just solid as ever, and having played the remake recently, it actually makes for an interesting companion piece just to see all the things they've changed. If you're a fan of Final Fantasy though, it's a great price to join, Cloud and everyone else on this epic adventure to save the world from Shinra. This one I gotta say it's a bit of a favourite of mine for when I'm on the go handheld. So Final Fantasy VIII Remastered then, this one it earns its spot on today's list because first it is an incredible game, but second, this is actually the lowest price we've ever seen for it on the Switch. So in Final Fantasy VIII it's actually the usual, save the world from a tyrannical ruler, but this one will be on the ride with like Seed, an elite military force. I'd say I probably actually rank this one personally slightly above 7, but it is close between them and you can't go wrong with either. I will say though here, just no 7, we've actually seen that price before, so this one it's the first time it's had 50% off, so that is in my opinion a bargain. Super cheap time now, All-Star Fruit Racing. It's coming in with a monster 95% off, and this game I gotta say is not bad at all. Now granted, you're not going to be retiring from Mario Kart after playing this, but fans of that should definitely find like a decent amount to like here. It's basically just a standard kart race, and it's got some decent visuals too, but there is like a surprisingly interesting combat system here. Basically you have 4 attacks, but different fruit fills up each tank to fire, so you need to be strategic about what you're picking up. 21 tracks, so 5 different worlds, a customizable kart, and then a few different modes including online play too. I will say I haven't tested online recently, so I can't comment on exactly how active it is right now, but I imagine it's probably going to pick up with it dropping to this price. As always with these tiny priced options though, remember to check your gold coins at checkout, as there's a good chance you may have just enough to cover something like this. So now Jay and Silent Bob Mole Brawl. This one, it's made for the fans, there's no question about it, but if you do like your Kevin Smith or kind of retro brawlers, this may well be worth a look, especially with this decent 33% off. This one though, it's a retro 8-bit side-scrolling brawler, and while it's nothing game-changing or anything, it is solid, and it's actually pretty challenging once you get into it. Originally released simply as a bonus kind of piece for Kickstarter backers of a game that goes by the name of Jay and Silent Bob Chronic Blunt Punch, it took on a life of its own, and I'm happy to see it get this standalone release. If you're a fan of his films then as well, plenty of recognizable characters in here just to kind of stir up those memories. Good stuff, but do know that I am a big fan of Kevin Smith. I did a full review of this game over on the channel too if you want to know more. Next up then, PIXELJUNK Monsters 2 with 80% off. I think this one is well worth a look for tower defense fans out there. There's not a huge amount to the concept honestly, but it is addictive. Here you'll be taking on the role of Tiki Man and basically building towers to defend your tiki hut and chibis from monster hordes. With local and online play though, customization options and the graphics are just absolutely stunning and stylistic. I really enjoyed my time with this one back at release, and I even added a physical copy of this game to my collection from Limited Run Games. I'd say here, highly recommended. Really, really good stuff. So as always then, my pickup this week, I'm going with Out There The Alliance. Now I can't recommend it, as always, I've never actually played it, but maybe you'll want to join me for the ride. This one though, it's one of those ones I've always kind of, seen floating around on the eShop, but I've never kind of actually taken the dip and went and bought it, so I figured, you know what, it's finally time, because I only ever see like good things about it. From what I know, it's basically a survival game where you manage your ship and basically see how far and how long you can like survive on these basic options. With a ton of gameplay though, 5 different endings, I'm pretty confident I'm going to get my money's worth at 50% off. And I just really like the cartoon visual style as well. It's kind of shallow, but it just looks really cool. This even throws in the DLC thanks to this being what's known as the Omega Edition, so yeah, it's not even going to skimp on content. So a quick trilogy for you now, but Dragon Quest 1, 2 and 3, they're all dropping with a 20% discount on each. While it's not a huge discount, in fact far from it, these games were cheap to begin with and absolute classics of the RPG genre. You gotta be into your old school, because these are very much that. I mean, you're looking at the visuals right now, so you'll probably already know if it's for you or not, but if you do like a great RPG and for some reason you've not yet picked these up, then now may just be the time to do it. Having played these personally on the Switch myself, I was really impressed with how the story is still like, you know, really solid. You'll also get, no doubt, probably combined for the free like 50 to 60 hours of gameplay. So looking for a challenge, I'd strongly suggest Kingdom New Lands. It's a go-to option for me. This was nothing like what I expected, having picked it up honestly, because I saw some screenshots and I liked the general like visual vibe, but it has, I've got to say, been kicking my ass ever since. Basically at its core, it's another tower defense, but here you'll be building and hiring folks around town to help you out as well. So it's as much about your own survival as your people's survival. Really interesting though, this one, and it comes with this mysterious air to it all that just absolutely captured me. It's one I find I'll pick up that I intend to have like 15 minutes on it, and before I know it, an hour has passed. It's not easy, but it is addictive. I'd watch probably a review on this one first though, just to get that full idea to see if it is for you, because I will say it's gonna be, you know, an acquired taste, but at 75% off, if you've kind of been curious about it and you want to give it a go, it's probably a nice time to take that gamble. So our final 3 games of the week now then. The first 2 available everywhere but the US and Canada, unfortunately, and then that last one is US and Canada exclusive, and it is a big one. If you need help jumping between eShops though, just let me know in the comments below and I can help walk you through it. First up though, the incredible CONTRA Anniversary Collection. This one right now is 75% off, a monster discount, and for that cash you're gonna get like 10, for the most part, incredible experiences. I will say though, a few of those 10 are basically the same with a few minor regional differences, so like the US version and the Japanese version, but for the completionists out there, it's a nice touch. CONTRA though, it's basically a classic of the run and gun genre, and while we've had tons of copycats over the years, few can match it. It's up there with the very best in this genre, and this is a really nice package with a surprisingly deep digital bonus book thrown in too. I actually ended up looking through it for once, and I don't normally like the whole, you know, digital art book vibe, but this one made me wish it was getting a physical release. Just know that with CONTRA, most of these games are basically hard as nails. So on the back of this then, our penultimate game of the week, it fits very nicely alongside CONTRA as well, because, well, it's the Castlevania Anniversary Collection. First of all, like CONTRA, it's an unforgiving experience, but it's also an absolute classic. This collection though, it's basically bringing together 8 games that span, you know, the series history, but it actually also includes for the first time an English translation of Kid Dracula. While I wouldn't buy it just for Kid Dracula, it's still a great addition to the library at 75% off. If you've never experienced Castlevania before, or you love the series though, this is a great way to jump in, and it brings across a lot of, you know, like modern perks. I'm sure purists will absolutely hate them, but for most of us out there, you'll probably appreciate them. Like CONTRA 2 though, a really good digital art book thrown in here as well, breaking down the history of the series. So our final game, and weekly I see this one being, you know, hoped for in the comments, and it's back on the biggest discount we have ever seen, Celeste with 75% off. Absolute steal and easily a must buy. If you missed it first time around, do not miss it this time. It's basically like the price of a fancy cup of coffee from like Starbucks, so you really can't go wrong here. Stunning and challenging platforming, a beautifully pieced together background representing, you know, inner demons, and yeah, there's like 700 plus screens of insanely tense levels to maneuver. Not only will you play this once, but you'll probably want to revisit it time and time again. It's quite honestly a masterpiece of design, and it's all topped off with a really stunning soundtrack. Absolute must buy right now, and a lot of you have been, you know, asking for it in the comments below, so please just treat yourself and pick up Celeste if you haven't already. And that's it, another week down. Remember to celebrate the release of the fantastic Carry-On on the Nintendo Switch. We do have 2 codes to give away. All you need to do, drop that comment below and hit subscribe so you're notified of, next Thursday's video where we'll be announcing the winners. Then a shout out as always to the patrons of SwitchCorner. It makes a huge difference, and I'm finally about to start work on our first ever hardware video that really would have been difficult, I'll say that, without that extra support, so thank you all so much. With that, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here, join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.